Instantly over his entire body, he pushed past Reed and grabbed the heavy steel plate Ben was pressing to the door. "This is gonna get hot, Blue Eyes. Think you can stand it?" Ben grunted his answer. "Ain't nothing you can dish out that I can't take, you hot-headed little twerp. Go on, use your blasted flame, and don't worry none about the ever-loving thing." Johnny grinned for a moment, then increased the intensity of his flame as he slowly began to melt the doorway back in place. He and Ben had been arguing back and forth ever since the Fantastic Four had formed, but they both loved each other as if they were brothers. Sue Richards gripped her husband's arm. Her eyes mirrored the fear she felt growing in her stomach. Ever since they had become the Fantastic Four, she knew they constantly risked death. But she had always envisioned their deaths resulting from some great battle to save humanity from an awesome foe. She had never given thought to their dying because of mere steel couplings that should have been replaced months ago, which would tear down the barrier between their dimension and the terrible darkness of the negative zone. This would be a wasted end, a horribly wasted death. Though she was frightened, her voice was quiet and firm. "Reed, can Johnny do it in time? Is there a chance?" Reed shook his head. "I don't know, Sue. If Ben can keep the steel plate from slipping and Johnny can weld it to the door quickly enough, we stand a good chance of making it." It took less than a moment for all of Reed's hopes to be shattered. The steel crumpled like cardboard in Ben's hands, and the lab room was suddenly bathed in a sickly, unearthly, blinding green light. Glass test tubes and slides flew across the room toward the yawning hole beyond the portal. Reed shouted over the awful roar, "Grab something, anything. If you value your lives, you'll hold on to a steel support beam." Papers and books tumbled helter-skelter through the portal and then vanished into the greenness beyond. A massive chair jerked forward and crashed into Johnny Storm, who stood closest to the open portal, fighting to maintain a handhold on a bolted lab table. "Reed!" he screamed. "I'm losing my grip!" Sue reached forward. Her temple throbbed with pulsing energy. Invisible tongs stabbed from her mind and grabbed for her brother. "Hold on, Johnny. I've set up a force field to catch you." The energy tongs snaked around Johnny's waist and held him firm, but Sue wobbled under the terrible pressure the negative zone was exerting. "I'm not going to be able to hold you for long. Can't fight the vortex and keep you steady. Johnny, please try to grab something before it's too late." Reed flattened himself against a wall, his pliable body stretched wafer-thin by the awesome pressure which held him in place. But he could still think, and instantly, he formed a plan. "Ben, grab onto Sue and anchor yourself. Johnny, Sue's going to let down her force field. Try to grab for safety any way you can." His eyes darted toward his three friends as they struggled to hear him. "Sue, when Ben has grabbed you, form the strongest force field you can to seal off the negative zone door. Hold it in place as long as you're able. You understand that?" Ben Grimm nodded. "I ain't gonna let Susie go. Don't you worry, Stretcho." At once, he lunged for the young, blonde-haired woman and grabbed her with his powerful four-fingered hand. His other hand darted toward the wall, and his fingers dug through the reinforced steel to create a handhold. "All right, Susie, it's up to you." Her head throbbed with incredible pain as the vortex power increased with every passing moment. Raw, seething energy lashed out to draw her through the portal, to be lost forever in the negative zone that lay beyond. A million needles pricked her flesh and distorted her usually perfect features. Her stomach heaved in agony as she struggled to banish the pain from her mind. She had to think clearly, precisely, otherwise she would be unable to use her powers. "Form an energy wall," she commanded herself. "Form a damned energy blockade and cover the negative zone. It's our only chance. You've got to be able to do it." Once more her temple throbbed, and an invisible force was unleashed. It spread over the doorway, layer upon layer, each reinforcing the previous one. Slowly, she felt the pressure ease off, and then she saw a frantic Johnny Storm collapse corpse-like to the floor. Her eyes grew wide with horror. "Johnny! God, no! Johnny!" Reed's angry voice shook her from her horror. "Forget him, Sue. Keep focused on the energy door. That's your only mission. Keep up the force field. Don't allow the negative zone to smash through your energy barrier." But her brother lay unconscious, perhaps dying on the floor before her eyes. How could Reed subject her to this stress? Blood seeped from her lips where she had bitten herself during the confusion.